Dummy switch pod. The boys are back.
Yes,
How are you,
sir.
Chris?
Oh, good. I'm feeling good. It's test week. Box are back. So yeah, excited. And yourself?
Good myself, the Dan Carters of podcasting. We're here to
Oh
give you those rugby
yes.
opinions, those rugby takes, church announcements. You can find us on Spotify and here, of course, Apple Podcasts. And put your comments. Comment
Mm-hmm.
on what we're about to say because we're about to throw out a lot of comments here, especially about selection. That's the talk of the day.
Yeah.
The All Blacks. It's test week,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a special test week when it's against the All Blacks.
Yeah. Very special. It's I think for every South African and All Black fan, but I know as a South African, this is their game you want to be at,
Yeah.
and this is the game, that you want the Springboks to win, especially at home at the park, so
The home
yeah.
of South African
Mm.
rugby. I'll
Yeah.
die on that hill. I'll die on that hill.
No, I'll be there with you on that sword. That this is the home of SA Rugby's Ellis Park, man. So yeah. Look, it's exciting, but interesting selection news.
Yeah, let's get into selection. Starting off, front row Ox starting, although it was rumored on the weekend that Steenekamp was going to start. For me, either way, it doesn't really matter. Uh,
I'm okay with that.
yeah, coach's decision. I'm fine with that. We'll get to the guys left out like kids off later on. Mbonambi, Malherba, Peter Steph at
Yeah.
4, Nokia at
Ooh.
5. Obviously, news of the day is that Etzebeth is out, or is he
Mm.
out? As they've said that
We don't
if you
know.
don't train, you can't be in the team. He wasn't supposed to train. He did train though, so now there's still question marks hanging around it. So we might see an
Yeah.
update to this. But anyway, it's Nokia at 5, Sia at 6. Ben Jason Dixon 7, Fissa back at
Mm.
8, Reinarken and Gomezulu. They seem to be the main partnership right now. Then we've got Aronsa, Dialendi, Creel, Colby. Other big surprise, Fassi retained.
Yeah.
Just going on to the bench there. Same, Marks, Dinnekamp, Koch. No locks. We've got Van Staden, Ulrich Lowe, Quacker Smith, and then we've got a nice insurance policy there with Williams and
Mm.
Pollard.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, with Etzebeth, with that cloud hanging over him,
Yeah,
so yeah, I'll just take it that he's not playing. You
yeah,
know, uh, it's going to be interesting tussle up front. Within the tight five. I think scrums we should be fine. Maybe lineouts, that's where we might be a bit shaky. In that respect, but I think just with the pack, the composition of this pack, I'm kind of expecting more. This is going to be, I think, a high octane game, a lot of
yeah,
counter attack. This is going to be all about the work rate, and I think, looking at the back five, Peter Steph, Nokia, Kolisi, Dixon, and Visa. I think yeah, I'm expecting more of that sort of approach, to shift the balls. I think it's going to be a battle of the defenses and the counter attack, and I think it's complemented by the backs that we've selected. Okay, continuity there you could argue with Reinach and Mngomezulu. Um, Based on the last outing, I think we did touch a bit on, with Grant Williams as well. I don't think like he's staked that full claim. Although I would have loved to see him get an opportunity
yeah.
to start, but a good insurance policy of the bench with his pace, So okay, I can accept that. Ngomezulu, look, they have to die on that hill. They said he's their guy, So yeah, it's another test for him. And then yeah, rest of the backline, I think pretty stock standard. Dearlender's back in, I would have loved to see Lucanio feature somewhere, whether it was
Yeah.
on the bench or not. But obviously, other factors contributed, I think, to that selection. And then Fassi, I'm not surprised. I wanted him actually to get another go, and he's got another go. I think he did well against Australia, and I think we can expect to see him more and more. And I think he's more of a threat, especially when it comes to that counter attack or broken field play. He can give us something there, and
Yeah.
especially with Kirtley and Colby, on his wings. So yeah, it's going to be a tricky one, especially if a guy like Etzebeth is missing. He's one of our big hitters, but it's time now for other people to step up,
Yeah,
especially
I
when you're
think,
looking at that starting 15.
yeah, if I have to run down the team in the same way, Etzebeth obviously big miss,
Mm,
especially in terms of physicality there.
mm,
Murat, what's put us in this position basically is Murat's out, RG's
yeah.
out, Klein is out, Lourdes is out. It's forced Peter
Mm,
Steph to go back to five, which I know some people were worried about, but I just thought he would fit right back in, and he has.
yeah.
It's same player at lock. Murat, I think, there's a documentary of his that's even being released. Obviously these decisions are made far in advance. I think they thought he'd be playing in this test match. He might even be
Yeah.
captain, but not how it goes. Yeah, with Etzebeth out, I think we'll be fine. I still, I think they'll include him. I think
Yeah.
that's the sentiment that I have. I don't know
Mm,
why you would risk it. Just leave him. There's always a second test. There's no rush. There's guys like Dixon that can fill in there. So for me, I have no problem with it. Visa back as well. He'll add the physicality that we've missed that eight, and that maybe it's a bit being taken out of the team. He'll
yeah.
add that physicality.
Yeah, I agree there. Yeah, look, you feel a bit hard done, like Albert Low, in that sense. But look, it's the All Blacks and Visa. I think he's shown in previous encounters against the All Blacks.
Yeah.
He's given them problems.
Yeah, it's a
And
matchup with
yes,
him and Savia.
yeah, and like his carries again were great. So yeah, I'm okay with that. And again, I still maintain. I think this is going to be a fast game. Weather permitting, which I think it will. I see this being one of those. It can be a high scoring encounter. But yeah, it's a decent pack. Considering who's missing. But like you said, there's a high chance that Etzebeth is going to play, and that's probably going to rejig
Yeah.
the starting pack with maybe Tutoi going to five, and then maybe Nokia coming in there. Then I think it's a shootout between Van Staden and Alveflo and Nokia, who's gonna, Nokia would definitely have to be in the bench, I think. And
Yeah,
then
they
it's
said
going to
one of
be
the flanks
between,
will drop out. One of the flanks will
yeah,
drop out. But for me, it's not so much. I don't have a problem with the players. It's more the cohesion when you
mm,
mix guys in and around there. To try and get that same kind of cohesion at scrum time and line out time. Moving to the back, Sasha. I think they've like you said, it's their guy now, and he's been
yeah,
given that time in that jersey, and it's the same thing. Like it's a luxury. A lot of Springbok players don't get that luxury to settle into a
mm,
jersey because they could have
yeah,
easily just rotated him out for Pollard. They could have easily rotated him out for Lubbock, and no one
yeah,
would have said anything. It would have been a thing of no more experienced player,
yeah,
horses for courses, but they've retained him. It looks like they're giving him time the same way that you know I saw in our comments last week that they said like Jesse Creel had that type of time, and it was
yeah,
a lot of caps went into what we're seeing right now. So
yeah,
I'm guessing that's what we're going to see with Sasha, where they just give him these caps, and I think they would have probably given it to him if his performances weren't as good as what they are. But he's held up his end of the bargain there.
yeah. Yeah, I think so, and I think there's no better time where, for him to even to sort of kick on, because one thing for sure, he has a good game against the All Blacks, then
Then it's done. It's done.
it's
Then
done.
yeah,
Yeah, so you can't look back from there, So look, good on him, and look, hopefully he brings that sauce on the weekend, and drives that, puts the team in the right positions,
yeah.
and they take their opportunities, because I think that's what it's going to be about this weekend, is taking those opportunities, especially with your general making the plays, So there's a big
Yeah.
responsibility for him.
Just the rest of the starting lineup for me, Fassi there included, obviously, like you said, impressed against Australia. But for me,
Oh,
I will say, guys, Veli still has some value. I know that pass, he should have made it. That's what stuck in people's minds recently. But if you look at the way that he transformed the Bulls attack in URC, and you look
yeah,
at the type of player other people are when he's around, that
mm,
double pivot that he does with the 10, it
yeah,
makes for a better attack. I know they said Fassi is shadowing him in a big way, so he's trying to almost replicate that. But
Yeah.
guys, Philly he still has. I
There's only
think he
one
still
Philly.
has value. I'm not ready to throw away the old man yet.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying throw him away. I just think, look, it's only right. We've seen Fassi before. We've seen him against Australia. We've seen him against teams like Georgia. Portugal.
Yeah,
Let's see him now. Against the All Blacks, and I think he'll do well. I personally do want him to do well. Because he's definitely the future. And yes, as much as Vili still has a lot to offer, but I like to see the glimpse into the future and
yeah.
him getting more acclimatized. And again, even with him play well against the All Blacks, it's very
Yeah,
difficult.
then it's done. You're a settled member on
Yeah,
that squad now. For
yeah,
me, the high ball, we saw how good he was against Australia with that. I think contesting in the air here is where he can show value, and again doing the basics. At the Sharks, you see the flashy stuff. Here it's more of the solid stuff that you need to be doing, the
yeah,
decision making, contesting high balls, positional play, that kind of thing. And then the bench, no lock, obviously concerning. And then Williams and Pollard. Williams, I think I'm higher on his stocks than you are. I think he
yeah,
was, maybe I have rated him highly against Australia, maybe than you did. Um,
yeah, yeah,
Either way, for me, I would have either one can start. I'm not picky in this situation, and Pollard, we'll see what he has to do when he comes on. What I will say is though, like I said, a lot of the players that were brought into camp were released. Kitsoff released, Moody released, Mapimpi released, Lubbock, all go play Currie Cup, which will be good to
yeah,
watch, seeing them play Currie Cup. But
yeah.
yeah, like I said last week, we don't really need some of these guys in those positions. It's not Kitsoff especially.
Yeah,
It would nice for him to get game time. I know I was maybe I was a bit harsh when you see a guy like Jaden Hendricks or how he played, but I mean he's been retained in the squad, but how he
yeah,
played in Currie Cup, he's fully sharp. He's fully up to that level. I'll say Moody as well.
yeah, yeah. Look, I think it's a matter of just possibly maybe them keeping that match sharpness. You never know with the Cape Town test.
Yeah,
Some of those guys maybe they be coming in.
I'm sure they will.
And
Yeah,
yeah, after having a game under their belt. Considering that this past weekend, especially the guys that came in from the Currie Cup didn't play. So yeah, look, like you said, some of the guys in those positions, we don't need them right now. But I still think they have to feature at some point. Because look, at the end of the day, they just got part of the job to be done this weekend. Is beating the All Blacks. And then these guys coming in, I think that bit of freshness in the coming week, because I envisage this is going to be a very, very taxing game. So and the follow-up game, is that's going to be critical as well.
yeah,
So yeah, got no qualms really. And even looking at the squad, if you're looking at it, match day 23, it's only like if you're picking out, it's only Renokia and Ngomezulu and Fassi really that you can say they're maybe you'll say the least experienced, and Dixon, the least experienced.
yeah. Like
Where
for me, it's not really about the players. For me, it's about the
mm,
cohesion and those guys having
yeah,
time spent playing together. Because I mean, these guys, it's new partnerships. That's the thing that I'm more concerned of than the individual
yeah.
players. So yeah,
But
but we'll
I think on both sides we might see that there's going to be that little bit of or there's going to be those mistakes, and where you can see that there's a lack of cohesion, especially from look, especially from the box side, initially. But I think they'll settle in nicely, and I think they've been together long enough. And I'm not too yes the cohesion, but I'm not too concerned with the cohesion, considering that we've got the insurance policies on the bench.
yeah. Just looking at the All
Mm.
Blacks, they're also undergoing their own new chapter. Coaches
Mm.
leaving after 2 games, disputes, not seeing eye to eye.
Yeah.
They obviously lost against Argentina as well. For me, looking at that game, physicality, they were more physical in the second match against Argentina. I think
Mm.
by the end of the first half, they had won the match. But
Yeah.
that's what's always going to happen when you cause an upset in the first one, is that guys will rally and pull themselves back to the level that they know that they can play. So for me, it's just the physicality, especially with Etzebeth gone. If he is gone, we're gonna look for Visa to match Savia. And
Yeah,
then the backs, it's always tricky customers. Those guys, Will Jordan always tears us up. Mackenzie and
yeah,
Barrett, X Factor players. So it's just to put them under pressure more than they put us under pressure.
yeah, yeah. And I think again, it's going to be that battle of the defense and then the counter attack or the transition.
Yeah,
And
counting.
I
Yeah,
I think maybe Springboks. I favor them. I'm tipping it a bit in their favor. It's gone down a bit with Etzebeth potentially not being there, but I'm still tipping it in their favor because of, I think the defensive system on the Springboks, we saw even that game against Australia, they
yeah,
really, as much as there was no cohesion, but they managed to hold Australia out for large parts of that game. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, but it's a great opportunity for a lot of the guys to step up, like I mentioned, Nokia,
yeah.
Dixon, Sasha, and Fassi. For me, these are the guys, but I have full faith. I think we'll sneak it close though, but I think we'll sneak it.
Yeah, I think we will. It is going to be tight, and I do think we will come under immense pressure for
Yeah,
20 minutes, 30 minutes in this game. That's just how it's going to turn out. But I think we have enough to get over the line, especially at Ellis Park. If it was in Durban, it would be a straight loss. But because it's at Ellis Park, I've got more faith in the Ellis Park
yeah,
faithful.
and
And
I think the guys will be able to hold them out. I think it's a matter of dealing with those moments when the All Blacks have their purple patch.
yeah,
If we can deal with that, then I don't see the Springboks losing this one. Again, it'll be very, very tight, but Boks all the way.
yeah, I think can't really, really, really can't wait for next week so we can come back and dissect that one.
Yeah,
Currie Cup. Do you want to talk some Currie Cup? I don't know. Did you manage to catch any games?
watched a few games. Lions, Cheetahs, of course, Province Sharks. Those are the ones that I watched. I think the Friday night game, the Bulls Griquas, that was an interesting one. Attack. It was almost like the battle of the attack, but then the Bulls are
Yeah,
just on a different level, different class. And look, uh, get Gumete jersey. You know what I mean? Well, that's all I'm saying. Let's get him tailored up. Let's get his measurements because I think for me he's imminent. His game awareness, the intensity that he plays with. He doesn't shirk getting in the dark places, but also as well in the trams is equally as good. And it was so good to see him and Mosi. It was such
yeah,
a very interesting combination. Him, Mosi 7, Gumete 8. I really like that what the Bulls put out. It was nice, good to
yeah.
watch.
Kumete is you can see that he's a level above what's going
Yeah,
on, and I've said
yeah,
that for certain Lions players, like in past weeks that they you can see these are URC players amongst Currie Cup players. He's
yeah,
looking he's looking like a Bok amongst Currie Cup players. So
yeah,
like you said, game awareness, IQ. I think he was great in that game. Involved in so many, his
yeah.
highlight reel from that game. He was involved in so many big minutes, and that's
Mm,
also one of the thing about big players have big moments in games, and he had a few throughout this game. So I think it was a good
yeah,
showing for him. Creek was sharp in attack, but the only problem for me was the first half essentially buried them the way that they couldn't get out the territory,
yeah,
because in the second half, when they did start to get those chances and got territory, they cut the balls up at times to disallow tries. Also, I would have let
yeah,
them go. I would have let them go. I
yeah,
think it was a
yeah.
bit harsh, but I guess it is what it is. The Bulls absorb their pressure well, and they just have. They're not even focused on youth. They those are experienced guys. So it's it's
Yeah,
it's always gonna get them over the line.
yeah, it is, and look, you can't blame the Bulls coaching staff because it's a new coaching regime,
Yeah.
and look, the main commodity is wins, and I think they still unbeaten so far, so they're having one hell of a run, leading up into the final rounds before knockouts. So So yeah, a lot. Again, they're looking good. As much as there's not a lot of youth, but there's guys. There's a lot of things to like about. I think is it
Yeah,
Litebele, the winger that came on last week, came on this week. The guys, that kid is that kid is he's got something. I think he's on to keep an eye on just to see how he progresses. Was I think he's got something there. And yeah, just that Bulls pack and that loose trio of theirs with Carr, Mosi, and Gumete. I think they did a lot of the damage, especially
yeah,
on attack. But even defensively, I mean, the fight there at the end, how long they were defending on their line, just unlucky to let the try go. But yeah, the Bulls looking good. Griquas, I think they'll be very disappointed, that they left things, for too long, and that lack of execution and being clinical, because they had the opportunity to try and put the Bulls under pressure, and they're taking their chances. It's a different game, different picture, and all of a sudden the Bulls have to go into the locker and try and bring something out. They didn't need to, thanks to the Griquas. But yeah,
and thanks to the
good.
ref.
Let's not forget to mention the referee
But
and his
yeah, for
team.
me also the Bulls, what I'll say is the strike running, and
Yeah,
once they do free it up for the back line is very, very good and very entertaining. I like Chamberlain there. I really hope Chamberlain
yeah,
gets big minutes. Uh the center partnership as well for me. Cornell Smith, very entertaining. Janchi when he
yeah,
played 13, very entertaining. Smith at 12 is also, I like to see those type of players as forming center partnerships. So it was
yeah.
good to watch.
It was good to watch, and just the way that the Bulls are promoting the ball in this game. I think that's one thing that I love about Currie Cup. What you're seeing is there's a lot of, there's this. Look, South Africa's always had attacking players, but I think there's that more of a willingness to have that all round game, where
Yeah.
yes, more strong scrum, but then just the promotion of the ball, the Bulls, when it's on, and the momentum that they
To
gather,
let the boys
is
play. To let the boys
yeah,
play.
it looks good, man. It's you gotta love it. It's the magic of the Currie Cup quarters.
Yeah, I quote Western Province versus Sharks. Not much to take from Western Province. I think Mattia just shown that he's a URC player. He looks like he's
Yeah,
playing by himself sometimes. Luke
yeah,
Berger's good at sometimes. I think Matongo is also good in terms of Mazibuko left, Blause left. So, he's really, I think he's better. What I've seen from him is better than both of those players already. So,
yeah,
that's good for him. But Western Province, the only compliment I can give besides that is that they just stuck around in the game, but they weren't helped by injuries. It was just a team thrown together full of players,
yeah.
and they just stuck around in the game. But that's about it. Sharks look way better. They look better
They did.
coached. They look like they've got better players. Mavesere
Yeah,
heavily involved. That
yeah. I know.
young core, that pack. Julius was also back, so he was also providing those moments. And then you've got Cronje, who just sets the platform for those young guys to play.
Yeah, look, I'll say this, early in the season, I was questioning why they've got Lionel Cranier there. I wanted a youngster to be getting opportunities, but look, he's made me eat my words, in terms of the way that he's steered the ship, directed these youngsters, especially the backline players. You can just see that, he's looking to unleash them, utilize their strengths. So yeah, look, I'll give him that, but the other thing for me is the never say die attitude of the Sharks team, because it's at one stage it almost did look like, look, there's a potential for this to sort of fall apart,
Yeah.
and then Province being at home, they can come into it and then take it away, but they hung tough. And they got the result at the end of the day. Denied them a bonus point as well. But a lot to like about what the Sharks are doing. Sia Ningiza as well. I liked him. That loose trio, actually, Renel Hugo as well in the locking. Yeah, look,
That's one thing
it,
that they've done. I will say that's one thing that they've done very well, is that where they have the experienced players, it's like
mm,
through in vital positions, You know, you look at
Yeah,
Reniel Hugo, you look at Cronje, even Edwin Cates on the wing. You
even
know,
Dan
it
Euster at hooker,
yeah,
because
it's
he's been there at the Sharks, you know.
so the way that they've, you know, set those guys out around the young guys, it's the coach. I have to say, well done to the coaching staff for that, because they've
Yeah,
put them in that position. There, Western Province also had a few experienced players, but you're not seeing that impact and the help that they're giving the younger guys.
yeah, you're not seeing that, but at the same time, look, they're youngsters as well. I think there's a few, sort of little bright lights that are coming through. You can see there, I like Leo Klela, his running style, and his explosiveness, and how, in contact, first tackle, he doesn't just go down easily. I think Carl Smith, I liked him there. Cupido. I think he looked. There's something about him.
Yeah,
He looks good. Looks good there. But and Luke Berger as well. I think they were more let down by just from a pack perspective. They couldn't just get a stranglehold on it and put that pressure on the Sharks. I think that's where they sort of missed out. Although I'll say, even in this game, at one stage it looked like the ref was he was trying to be an equalizer there, in some certain calls. But at the end of the day, Sharks got the results. I'm happy.
yeah. I don't know if you caught any other games. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to enjoy the Lions' victory, as sweet as it was. I just caught
Ah,
glimpses of it.
look, one thing I'll tell you, we said it last week. I'll say it again. I think what Tim Nkosi and his team are doing, with this Lions team, I really, you gotta like it. I mean, Mazoe Matfield, I think he was prominent as well. If you look at even what your Yaku Fisahi, then that man Du Plessis,
Mm,
he's just everywhere right now. Everything's working out for him. I think Oma looked good. He's looking very good there at the Lions. Kate Williter, that was his comeback game. What a game comeback against the Cheetahs. It's a tough outing, in
yeah,
Bloemfontein. But look, I think he'll be happy. And all of the sudden, the Lions are looking like, not even all of a sudden, just in terms of the player personnel that they've got and they're able to put
yeah.
together. They also have some sort of depth building, under the
Because
radar.
that's the
So,
thing where you've got Hendrickson leaving,
mm,
Voliter steps up. This is the third fly half to step up, because Francis stepped up, then Mills stepped up. So all
yeah.
of a sudden now there's options there. So
Mm,
even with Chituka also leaving now, Renzo Duplessis all of a sudden scoring hat tricks
mm.
and becoming prominent. So yeah, like you said, just building depth and plugging those holes in the squad caused by departures.
Yeah, and I mean, look, to go to Free State and go get that win, because mind you, this Cheetahs team is, I think, if we're looking at it from across the board from a South African rugby perspective and Currie Cup perspective, they have been the one
Yeah.
team that has been sort of almost consistent together. They've had enough time. They played. I think they also played Challenge Cup as well. So. I think they'll be very disappointed with their showing. I think for them it's just a matter of recalibrating and trying to get back onto a winning run, because you want a strong Free State Cheetahs team, to sort of to bolster the rest of the competition in terms of Currie Cup, but also in terms of URC depth when guys get an opportunity to play elsewhere. But yeah, a few things, few people, we can see that, okay, yeah, look, I think Kijima's really, he's grown a lot there at 12. I really like how he plays. Hartzenberg as well, his work rate, his kick chase, and when he commits to that kick chase and makes a tackle, it sticks. So there's Opama Oji. I think he's looking good again. You're getting those meters. He's not as explosive as he was prior to his injury, but he's looking good. And I just think, yeah, the tempo of the Lions just caught these guys off guard. And the Lions were just had too much in the locker for them. At the end of the day.
Yeah, I think we're all but confirmed in a semi. I think if not, it's just a few points. 2 matches left. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Any
Yeah.
closing remarks, Chris?
Oh wait, the last game, Pumas Griffons. I think Griffons will be disappointed. Last home game, I watched a bit of that game. They got a good start, but then they just couldn't sustain it, and I think the discipline eventually caught up with them and made it. At the end of the day, the result just, I think the scoreline flattered the Pumas. Because yeah, like I badly wanted the Griffons to at least get a result, especially in this Currie Cup. But maybe there's still 2 more rounds, hopefully they'll get it. But again, Pumas, credit to them, they got their stuff, they got their act together. That Ross Brody looks, he's some
He's
type of
pushing.
player.
He's pushing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's some type of player, to look out for. And then I think that work rate as well. You gotta love him. I think, yeah, Pumas, they're sorting out the issues. Griffons, you can see that, yeah, it's first division and what. So yeah, hard luck, but yeah. That's the magic of the Currie Cup. It goes again next next week. Even though the Boks are playing, the Griquas Cheetahs, that should be a very, very, very interesting game. Down in Kimberley. And then a big one on Friday night, Bulls Lions. That's that. Look, it's a feast this weekend, man. It's a feast. Ending off with the Springboks. Oh man, you gotta love it. You gotta love it, quarters.
Closing remarks. Closing remarks.
Oh, look, Box. It's the chance now. A lot of people they've got opportunities. Let's send these guys. Let's put these guys away. Put these oaks away. I quote Pepsi Buthelezi in the under-20 rugby championship when he was captain. Got to put these oaks away. That's what they got to do.
Put them away. Church of Fassi also. We'll be
Yes.
singing as a congregation. We'll be singing.
Oh
we'll be
yes,
there.
we'll be reading from verse 15. The book of counterattack. So so we'll be there.
That's it from us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.